Okay, there we go. But first, you're looking at a massive pile of fentanyl-laced pills, 1 million pills in total. The drug seized by the DEA in Inglewood, California, the largest fentanyl pill bust in the state's history. Fentanyl is believed to be the main driver behind the recent spike in drug overdoses. There were more than 107,000 last year alone. Many dealers have been lacing the substance into other drugs such as Oxycontin, Xanax, cocaine, and more without their customers' knowledge. And it does not take much to kill you. Take a look at this. This is crazy. That there is a lethal amount of fentanyl compared to the size of a penny, just that little bit. Joining me now for more is Jim Rowe. His son, Tom, was poisoned by fentanyl and died. He is now the founder of Families Against Fentanyl. And Jack Riley, a retired DEA agent. Jack is also the author of the new book, Drug Warrior, Inside the Hunt for El Chapo and the Rise of America's Opioid Crisis. Okay, if you're watching us right now, you don't think fentanyl is a big deal. It is. It is the #1 killer of young Americans in this country right now. Not cancer, not car accidents. It is fentanyl. And Jack, I want to start with you. 1 million pills in that house in California. 1 million pills. Does that shock you?
You know, it does. I mean, I think it goes to the hardworking DEA agents around the world that are working, but it should send a shocking message to parents and legislatures that this is an issue that really can affect the future of our young people and the country. This is a national security problem, no question about it.
And Jim, I think one issue is that the people who get these pills don't even realize that there's fentanyl in them. I know that is what happened to your son, Tom. And sadly, he is no longer with us. I can't imagine how you must feel. You're fighting so hard against this epidemic, and now you find out that there's a house with 1 million pills inside. That must have really, really bothered you when you saw this headline.
We're fighting to have fentanyl declared a weapon of mass destruction by the United States government, as they well know that it's a weapon of mass destruction. The Council for Combating Synthetic Opioids that just convened said that these fentanyl pills are a slow motion weapon of mass destruction in pill form, and that it's being done with malice. That's draining nearly $1 trillion out of our economy. And Families Against Fentanyl was the organization that gathered the information to show that it was the #1 killer of 18 to 45-year-olds. And we pulled that number out of the CDC data by doing rigorous work. It wasn't forthcoming from the CDC whatsoever. We feel that that number is expanding to 13 to 50, but we can't get the granular data in order to prove that. But it's already showing up in tremendous amount of casualties in infants, toddlers, and children through incidental contact. And this is a third or 21st century opium war that's being launched against us.
Jack, I want to show you something here, and this really shocked me. This is the way that these drug dealers are targeting young people these days. They are using emojis. Look at that. Different emojis for Xanax, for Adderall, for cocaine, for cough syrup, for meth. These are the emojis they use, and this is how they communicate with the young people. It's unbelievable. And then we find out that this is the #1 reason that young people in America are dying. Why is more not being done, Jack?
Well, I think much of, and you hit it on the head here, this is a a war that we have to go amongst many sources. Certainly, the traffickers that hide on the internet have the ability to sell to kids they've never had before or users. And I think it's very difficult for law enforcement to force the issue to make a difference. But what we have to do, and I appreciate everything that's been said here, is we've got to really build a stronger bond and have a robust law enforcement presence overseas where this is being produced and transported from Mexico and China. This is an issue, I think, that has to be solved at an international level And honest to God, it's got to be dealt with, I think, at the dinner table with parents.
And you
talking to
mentioned,
kids.
I don't want to interrupt you, but you mentioned Mexico and China. It is being made in Mexico and China. How is it getting in? How are they sneaking it in? How's it getting past us?
In virtually every way possible coming across the border. UPS, trucks, buses, backpacks with guys swimming across the Rio Grande, to planes, trains, you name it, it's coming. So we've got to do a better job on the border. But I think more importantly than that, we really got to get the message out educational. And this is the issue I think that is facing us with fentanyl, and it's not going away. This has to be a multi-pronged attack, and we've got to do it now.
And now we've got a house with 1 million. Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
We can stop this material from coming to the United States by enacting Title 15 of the DHS rule, naming this a weapon of mass destruction. We can enable ICE and other agents to seize this material at its ports of entry, at its transshipments places in Singapore. We can freeze up their money. We can put a real dent in this. We don't have to tolerate this. This is being tolerated in order to shirk responsibility of the government and allow this to happen, sacrifice our young people in order to fulfill some agenda of free immigration into the country or for whatever reasons. But we have a chemical threat, a CTRA. We've asked for a FOIA on from the government, a chemical threat risk assessment on fentanyl. The DHS and the rest of the government knows this is a weapon of mass destruction. It can be repurposed in order to cause mass casualty events and jump from the slow motion weapon of mass destruction into a major social destruction.
I hear you, Jim. I hear you. And I know your organization. I know how hard you're working. I'm sorry for what you went through with your son. And we hear about all of these other things all day long that can hurt us. But for some reason, the #1 killer of young people in America, we got 1 million pills in a house in California, and it sort of just becomes a little headline and goes away. Jim and Jack, thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate you.
You got it.